Hey everybody, Sweekit here. Welcome to another CSR2 video. In this video, we won't be breaking down anything like the Prestige Cup car, nor am I talking about a new event that came to the game, but we'll be talking about 10 things I can guarantee you almost everybody hates in CSR2. And I'm one of those guys, so without further ado, let's get right into the video. Thing number one on my list, pay to play or pay to win events, especially pay to play events. The most notable one are flash events where you have to buy the car to participate, as well as the current track dominion sale if you're not a experienced player and you don't have the cars that are eligible. You have to buy the cars if you're going to participate. What's the problem here? Well, it's quite obvious. The game wants to make money off you, and the easiest way is to sell you stuff. And it gets really annoying when you're just forced to buy stuff in order to participate in events. It's really egregious, especially with flash events, because first of all, you have to pay to get the car, and you have to pay some more if you want to complete the event, which usually is not worth it because the price is usually 10 gold keys, and I'd rather you just spend $10 and 10 gold keys instead of nearly $100 on upgrading a flash event car, which only serves purpose in the flash events and usually ends up collecting dust after that because it doesn't serve any other purpose. And when it comes to pay to win events, I think the most recent example would be Hypercar Sanctum Evo, where you had the Frankenstein by Frank Stefan design and the X16 Prometheus by Hyperion. You had to upgrade both of those cars if you wanted the Apollo Evo. And I really doubt any person who isn't a hacker managed to get this event done for free. Most people who end up getting the event done are very likely people who ended up spending money on crates because they need parts for the cars, and the race pass is not going to get you very far in most cases, especially with that stupid event. So that's number one out of the way. Number two, people who swap dishonestly. Now, here's a caveat. I don't swap. I've never been a swapper, but from what I do know, people who dishonest swap basically steal wins. So basically, swapping is a case of one win, one loss. You take one win, you take one loss. So you trade them back and forth. Dishonest swapping is when a person comes in, he takes a win, and then when it's your turn to win, he takes a win again. And when it's his turn to win, of course he takes a win again, and when it's your turn, he takes a win again. And it gets really annoying when you find such a person, because when you swap, you're usually on a wild card. And when you're on a wild card, of course, time is of the essence. And when time is of the essence, you really need the RP. So finding a person like that really can annoy you. So when it comes to dishonest swapping, I don't condone it. I just find it's really annoying because I'm not a swapper, but I'm sure if it happened to me, I'd be really ticked off. And that brings us to number three, which is another kind of player in the game, is the I must race you players. Now these are in live racing, and when you do live racing, oftentimes you will find people who challenge you, and usually if they're in a car like a dyno beater, you will refuse them, or if you know that they can run way faster than you, you refuse them. The problem here is when you refuse them, they challenge you again, and when you refuse them again, they challenge you again, and the cycle is a never-ending loop until you leave the lobby or until they leave the lobby. And from my perspective, this is a very annoying way to play the game, because if a person declines you once, it might be an accident because you might have clicked the wrong button. It has happened to me. I've declined people on accident, and the next round when they challenge me, I'll accept that. But what happens is that if I decline you twice, it's a sign I don't want to race you. Yet people just continue harping on clicking the challenge button again and again. And the problem here is that when you challenge me, other people cannot challenge me. And when other people cannot challenge me, I cannot race. And when I cannot race, I cannot make money and I cannot make RP. So that's a very annoying way to play the game, and you shouldn't be doing that, in my opinion. If a person declines you once, it might have been an accident, so try again. If they decline you twice, it's obvious that they don't want to race you, so leave it be. Leave it at that. Find somebody else to race. Simple. Now, point number 4, crate drop rates. And I'm sure everybody who's watching this video can agree with me. You've opened a gold crate at some point when you played CSR2, and I can guarantee you, imagine seeing a 20 times chance on a car. You click the open crate, and what do you get? A useless 3-star car, usually a tier 3 or tier 4, which has no purpose in the game and serves no purpose to you other than to waste your gold keys, as well as waste your resources, because to strip that is at least another 50 to 100k, and it's really, really annoying. I mean, I get it, not everyone's going to win not the Prestige Cup car, but the drop rate car on the first try. In fact, if Natural Motion made it so you won the drop rate car on the first try every time, things would get really boring and they wouldn't make any money off gold key sales. But we're on the far end of that, where oftentimes you can open 7 gold crates, get nothing but junk, and have to rely on loyalty. And it's really, really boring. That's why gold key crates can get very, very boring. Like, you can just anticipate that, oh, I'm just going to get 7 junk cars before I get the loyalty, which is when I'll get the prize car that I want. So, I get it. Natural Motion has to make money, but damn, could the drop rates be at least a little bit better? Because it really makes gold key crates really boring to pull. You just know you're going to get junk. On to point number 5, dealing with Natural Motion again, connection issues. And I'm sure everybody has seen that little Wi-Fi with a slash at the top part where their RP is at some point in the game. And to get that to go away, there's no manual reconnect button. You have to reboot the game, or you have to wait an obscene amount of time for that to go away. And it can take about 5 minutes if you were to wait, which is a bit ridiculous. There should be a just manual way to reconnect instead of having to wait it out, especially if you're doing live races or showdown, because it can get really, really annoying. It doesn't show, especially in showdown, where you can just race, and when the game puts you on the screen and the versus pop-up doesn't show up, you know that you've actually got that red Wi-Fi with a slash symbol. And it gets really annoying because I have to get myself out of the game, reboot the app, and then come back in, which wastes time. And I don't like it. So it's really annoying. And honestly, the game could just do with better connection. But honestly, at this point in time, with how old the game is, I don't see any changes coming to it. Point number 6, elite levels. And this is especially frustrating when you're looking at the red tokens, because the red tokens are probably the most hard to get, because when it comes to a ratio of tokens that are used to tokens that you get, the ones that are hardest to get are the red ones, because when you do get them, you get them in obscenely small amounts, like 5 or 10 tokens. It's really, really not going to help you much. You need hundreds, if not thousands, per elite car. And as of this video, the next elite car is around the corner. It's coming in March. It's a new Toyota Supra, and I can bet you that it's going to take a few thousand of those stupid red tokens to upgrade it, and it's not going to be a fun experience. It's just going to be another festival of me just playing the game on and on and on like a job, just to get those red tokens to get the car fully elite. And it's just going to be another case of me getting nothing but 10%, 10%, 10% discounts. So it's not going to be something I'm looking forward to, neither something I think I'm going to enjoy. And before I move on, you might be wondering why I'm not saying the yellow tokens are hard to get. That's because when it comes to upgrading your car, you don't use as many yellow tokens as you do red tokens. So as a result, I find the red ones the hardest to get instead of the yellow ones. I often am at the limit of 500 for my yellow tokens, and I haven't been at the limit of my red tokens ever. If anything, I'm always short on those. Moving on to point number 7, empty live racing lobbies. And this happens a lot, and this happened even right before I was making this video. I went to live racing today, and all the lobbies were pretty much dead. I'm just trying to push to 2 billion. I just want to find people to race and bet against, but I haven't been able to find anybody as of this video. I've taken my M5 sedan into live, my M5 Touring, my 911 Rally, my DBX 707, my Audi RS6 Avant, my Venom F5 Roadster, and guess what? The lobbies are all completely empty. And I wouldn't mind it if the game at least put bots in when the lobbies are empty, so I can at least get somewhere. I can at least increase my bank balance by 10 grand at a time. But no, the game decides when it wants to put bots, and even if the lobby is completely empty, usually the bots won't appear. So it gets really frustrating. I have to swap between cars, and coming back to the garage is kind of a hassle every time, just to switch cars, go back to live, find it's empty, come back, switch cars again, go back to live and find it's still empty. It's really frustrating, really annoying, and really gets on my nerves. And that's point number 7. Point number 8, people who activate the wild card randomly in a crew. Now this won't apply if you're in a random crew, but if you're in a more organized crew like mine, it gets really, really annoying and frustrating at times when we have a timetable on when we're going to activate the wild card, and all of a sudden somebody out of nowhere activates the wild card at a weird hour. The most notable one I've had was at 3 in the morning. I was basically getting ready to sleep, and some idiot decided to activate the wild card. And instead of going to sleep, I had to pop on the showdown and get as many wins as I possibly could just to make the most of the wild card. Doing that's really, really annoying. You shouldn't be doing that as a player. And guess what? There's no way to say only an admin in the crew or the leader can activate the wild card. It can be anybody. And guess what? There's not going to be a change about that anytime soon. I went to read Natural Motion's help articles, and they said this is the way they actually wanted it to be in the game. So it's really frustrating. I mean, I get it, but it causes frustration on the user's end, because you might have that one player who just wants to cause a bit of havoc before he leaves the crew, and it does happen. I've seen people who activate the wild card right before they leave just to screw the crew over. I don't do it because I'm not a dick, but I can guarantee you such people do exist, and it's really, really annoying. Point number 9, staying within crews, people who don't put the minimum amount of RP in. And I can get it to a certain extent because we all have lives outside of CSR2, but when you're in a crew, you're expected to perform at a certain level to help the crew out, because if you don't help the crew, we're not going to get the rewards. And my crew, I'm not saying names, has 1 or 2 people who just don't put enough effort, and guess what? We've scraped the 35 million mark so many times, and it's not even funny. 35 million is where you get 2 gold keys, and 2 gold keys means a lot to me. It means less money I have to spend in CSR2, and I can basically save up gold keys from there instead of having to buy them. And when crew members don't put enough RP, it hurts everybody, because everybody's the one who benefits from that. And to the same degree, the weekly Elite Cup, we haven't completed 900 races for months. And I'm not saying it's me, because certain days I do miss a weekly Elite Cup because I really am busy. But if everybody puts their effort in, we'll be well over 1,000 races. The fact that we are only at 800 races every time signals to me that some people just aren't doing the weekly Elite Cup. I don't know why. It's really easy. It doesn't take much effort, but people just don't do it. So I'm just going to leave it up here at point number 9. Point number 10, and the final point on this list, I'm sure everybody saw it coming, hackers. And this is especially obvious in Showdown and the Prestige Cup. When it comes to Showdown, most people who have the Apex car, Purple Star, fully maxed out, are cheaters. I'm not saying all, because there are people who have spent the bronze keys to get the parts from the Gold Star version and put it on the Purple Star version. I can understand that, because there are crews who hit 135 million RP legitimately. But I have seen crews, and I recognize their names because they're nowhere at the top of the leaderboard. I've seen them full of modded cars, and I know that they didn't get it legit. And by looking at the way they launch the cars, it's really obvious because it doesn't take much guesswork to figure out someone's cheating. When I look at the way they launch the car, and instead of timing the launch button, what they do is they spam the button as soon as it pops up. And that's not the way to launch a car in live. And if that's the way you do it, you're definitely cheating, because there's no way you would have gotten to the crew's 135 million just by doing that crap. And to the same extent, I would say the Prestige Cup. And not always, because usually people who get the Purple Star car buy them off bundles. They reach 135 million. But when we're talking about older cars like the existing G-Wagon for the current Prestige Cup, most people who get it are cheaters, because this was from a time where only the top 10 crews could get the Purple Star car. And as a result, people who didn't get the top 10, most of which were cheaters anyway, are still cheating, because usually they contact a mod service to get them the cars. And what they do with the cars, they dominate everybody with the Gold Star version, and it's just not fun. So it's really, really frustrating, because having cheaters in the game really, really soils the mood. It really makes you not want to play when you play against cheaters, especially in Showdown, because you reach a certain point and everybody's in a Purple Star car, and even if they might not drive it well, the advantage that they get from the car is well enough to still beat you, even if you're a good driver but in a slower car. So that wraps up my video of the 10 most annoying things in CSR2. If you have any more that you'd like to add, do leave a comment. If you like this kind of video and want to see more, leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you next time.